Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Country, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, hey, in diaspora, current affairs, hey, reliable information, history, talking about culture, hey, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Between the Headlines on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jah, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Tonight, we're going to be looking at what I see as chaos in the House of Representatives as Speaker Funati Koffa battles to hold on to his speakership. What's going on there? What are some of the legal ramifications? What constitutes a quorum? What is bribery and all the 9 yards, everything in between? We're going to be discussing the legal part of it, the governance part of it, and also the political side of it, because impeachment itself is political. And so let's talk politics, let's talk law, let's talk governance, and let's talk accountability. Let me welcome FOL political analyst, Mr. J. Victor Nambi. Mr. Teacher Nambi, welcome, sir.
Hey, Dennis, it's good to be here.
Thank you. Let me welcome our governance advisor, Mr. Ahmed Salif. He's also the executive director of GJI. Go ahead, Mr. Salif. Welcome.
Thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm here to learn from these distinguished gentlemen and to throw in a few things about why we established Liberia GJI.
Thank you. Let me also welcome the engineer and also political engineer, Jimmy Eastman. Welcome, Jimmy.
It's a pleasure being here with these distinguished gentlemen. I hope we can add to the conversation and give our people some nuggets.
Thank you. Let me also welcome attorney. He's an attorney, an economist, and also a financial crime specialist, Anthony Wanda Konyene Fremo. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you, Jimmy. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. Last and definitely not the least, let me welcome the new progressive commentator, Dr. Clarence R. Pearson. Welcome, Doc.
Thanks for having me, Dennis. It's a pleasure being on the show tonight. And hi to my esteemed panelists and our viewers and listeners out there. It's a pleasure.
Let me welcome all our viewers from across the globe. Welcome to Between the Headlines. We're going to be discussing chaos in the House of Representatives, how Speaker Koffa fights to stay on. Please, if you have not done so already, please share the show, invite a friend, and let's discuss. And to start with, I want to thank everyone. Over the weekend, we were able to bury my nephew, Eddie, and for all of you who contributed, who called me or called any family member. I mean, my sister received a lot of support in her community. Her friends, her club members, church, everybody was around her, and so we really, really appreciate it. And thank to all my FOL family for checking on me and holding the turf while I was away grieving my begin. Let's get started. Dr. Pearson, we have heard a lot about what's going on. I will try to give it a little overview and want you to take it up from there as to what is happening. Now we saw today, now in the representative in the House, we have some blacks. They say majority black and minority black and all kind of funny names there go. But what that is that they are a group of them, around 40 or a little over 40, that are protesting the speakership of Councillor Funati J. Koffa. They say, we don't want you. We have no confidence in you because you are doing all these bad things. There are others who say, no, that's our speaker. He will stay on. On Koffa's side, he said, well, I'm trying to introduce reforms. They don't like it. That's why they want me to go. But want to hit the restart button. I've made some mistakes. Let's talk and put this thing behind us, because right now the House of Representatives is like an embarrassment. So let's do something about it. So this is where we are. We don't know where this is going. Today they had two sessions. The group calling itself Majority Bloc went in the joint chamber there where they wanted to have their own meeting, and then you have the regular session of the National Legislature, or the House of Representatives meeting in their chambers, presided over by Mr. Koffa. But Mr. Koffa, according to them, they have no quorum. We're going to go to the legal side. Mr. Pearson, I want you to just fill in again what's happening there at the House of Representatives.
It is often that we will say, thank you for the question. It's often that we will say that Liberia has found itself in a spoiled system for many years now when it comes to governance in our country. And it is not a secret to understand that our legislature has been one of the biggest problems in our country, and how the legislature has been misgoverned and with the misruling there. There's a historic pattern that we've seen in the past where speakers have been removed by dubious means instead of following the law. And I know my learned brothers here would have some idea on how Speaker Snow was pressured to resign, even though he was not removed with the constitutional provision as provided for under the laws. Snow was removed when because he from the district I'm from, District 6 in Pinsville City. Snow was very young at the time. We all were in Pinsville City together there. And those guys took Snow chair from him, from where they had decided to be presiding, and took Snow chair to the pavilion, the speaker's chair. And Snow found himself without seat to sit in and no gavel, and so you look at it and say it's useless trying to pursue this, and he resigned, not after he had gone to the courts and get the court's approval that those guys were actually sitting illegally. And the same thing happened with Tyler. They maneuver him, and we all know that from history that those removers have some political inducement on it when it comes to financial inducement, and now we see the same thing. So I want to be very clear here, Mr. Dennis, that the sitting outside of our regular chambers today was illegal. Despite they had the numbers, that is not what the Constitution provides for. And Speaker Koffa session was the legal session with this deputy speaker beside him. And under the Constitution, they had the right to convene. And if they did not have the majority, they have also the Constitution right to demand that the rest of the other guys who are absent from the session to show up for job. And so I will leave it there, and I'm just saying it's business as usual, Dennis, and we hope that we can correct this.
Jimmy, just give us a little more on what are the contentions in the House of Representatives giving rise to this thing.
Well, they had a laundry list of things they accused the speaker about. They claimed that he was representing SOEs, government enterprises, and they accuse him of various other corrupt activities. And however, it's been, this whole thing is coming about with implications that there's been bribery as well. So we have to ask ourselves, and the legal luminary here, if you have a legitimate corruption case against the sitting speaker, why then was bribery introduced? Because once you introduce bribery, it means you're doing something wrong. At no time bribery is justifiable. So then we beg to ask, did they have a legitimate case? So where we stand now is they are gung-ho to remove the speaker for whatever reasons. According to the speaker, he's trying to carry out an audit. He's trying to restore public trust in that body, and he's up against the cartel, the ones who want to keep business as usual. So, in a nutshell, it looks like there's a lot at play at politics, but I have yet to see how Liberians, the everyday Liberian, are going to benefit from this brouhaha.
Thank
It
you.
hasn't shown its face. Yeah.
Mr. Salif, you advise on a lot of governance issue. What we are saying in the House of Representatives, is it the way I describe it, chaos, or this is regular, normal political or maneuverings that will go on anywhere in the House of Representatives? Or people are saying, "Oh, this is embarrassing. This is despicable. Is it that way, or this is regular way people do things in the House?"
It's the way they're going about it. It's the way, especially, I think it was last week, the first time that we saw that noise of chaos, people slamming doors and things like that. But this is not unusual of political power play or political power struggle in various legislatures around the world. We've seen Kenya people engage in fisticuff. In Ghana, somebody, people threw chairs. I said in Indonesia, you can count Korea. You can count various countries that we've actually seen. In Nigeria, people got hurt in the lower house in Nigeria. They were really engaged in fisticuff. Now, that's not to suggest that that is normal and that is the right way. But the point is, these political struggles, political power plays do happen in legislative chambers. In our case, we are a bit disorganized already. We are a bit not of an inclusive institution already. We do not have a lot of infrastructure in place. Our rules that may be on the books, but they're not properly followed. We're used to cutting corners. We're used to engaging in financial inducements and briberies and pushing envelopes and things like that to get our way in politics in the legislature. And so we saw a very, it's embarrassing, noisy theater, to be honest with you. In that respect, yes, you can say it was very a national embarrassment, but I will say it's not unique to Liberia. I'm not speaking to the merits or demerits of this. Just to answer your question directly, Dennis, whether this was just the way things happen. Point is, we've seen even here in the U.S., recently with Calvin McCarthy, he was trying to get elected as speaker. It took how many votes? And thereafter, there were a lot of disruptive activities. That's what brought Mark Johnson to be the speaker today. So there are these power struggles that happen and different ways of inducing people. But as long as you do it within the confines of the law and with respect, total respect of constitutional institutionalism and rule of law, then you're properly playing the game. But in our case, it's really because we're not strong. The discipline is not there, and that's why you saw the kind of chaos, I think.
Thank you. And we're going to get into it, but let me ask Mr. Namwe. Anytime we see the chaos, we always like to compare, right? So if what Mr. Salif is saying is something that you two believe that your chaos is disorderly, the way they carry out, we've never seen anything like this in recent years. Does the president or the executive have anything to do with this?
Well, there are speculations that
the way they are managing. I'm not going into whether they maybe give the money or not, but the way it's going. Is this a reflection on on the chief executive.
No, I think the president has absolutely nothing to do with it. These are three separate equal branches of government. The president is not the head of the legislature. The legislature run their own business. So I don't think the president has anything to do with it. But I have to agree with Mr. Selly in some respect. These things do happen. Political maneuverings happen everywhere. Um, Speakers, pro temps, they're removed for cause. Um, but what I find a little perplexing is what I believe it was Dr. Pearson's or probably my friend Jimmy. If you do believe you have a cause to remove the speaker, then why do you need monetary motivation to do so? Because if you have a strong case, why don't you put your case forward? I think this is what most of us find troubling. Politics is a blood sport. People get in there and they outmaneuver each other. It happens all the time. But it's just that in our case, the way the case is being introduced is what is frustrating out of us. This is cash violence we're witnessing in Liberia. I think they would have had a case if they had just put their case forward. I think they have some strong allegations against the speaker. Conflict of interest is a strong allegation. You can't. I don't understand how he would be the speaker and represent institutions that he is charged with over overseeing. It's a difficult balance. So that could have been a case made against him, and if they could have made an effective case. But what we're hearing, the introduction of money into the equation, I think this is what most of us, find troubling. But to your question, I don't think the president has anything to do with this. In this,
Thank you. Let me go to Anthony Fremont. Let's talk some law here. And I pull up few because when this thing happened, you see one group having their section, another group having their section. Regular minds are wondering, okay, can the so-called majority black go in there and pass any law or do anything? Or do they need a speaker or a deputy speaker? What they're doing, is it legal for them to even meet, and would they make any significant decision, or is just politics? That's number one. We talk of quorum. How does how can the president and the speaker be removed? So they say the simple majority of each house shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business, but a lower number may adjourn from day to day and compel the attendance of absent members. We will talk a little bit about compelling people to be in a meeting. Can Funati do it? And then we also talk about removal, that the speaker, the deputy speaker, and other officers so elected may be removed from office for cause by resolution of a 2/3 majority. That's another thing I want you to speak to. Can the speaker be removed? And today I had I read over again in the Constitution. What I'm reading is the Constitution, the power of the legislature. I mean, the things they have to do, I'm not reading through them, but there's so many. And I don't know whether we're doing them. And then the next thing is bribery. This whole thing of bribe.
So I'm going to handle all of that at the same time.
Well, 2 minutes. Start some.
Yeah. So maybe we'll take a piecemeal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing I want people to know is that the parliament is not a strictly legal body. So the way the legal rules apply in other spheres of life, it doesn't necessarily work that way in the parliament. The parliament is something we call a quasi-legal arrangement. Quasi-legal because it's more political than legal. So if the Constitution or the laws of the country may give you a direct power to do a thing, but there's always alternative legal way to get the same thing you want, right? There's no one legal way to get what you want. For example, the president is supposed to nominate and the House is supposed to confirm. If the president nominates and the House decide they will not schedule a confirmation hearing, then what happens?
The Senate, not House.
Oh, yeah, the Senate. So the president is supposed to nominate, and the House not supposed to interfere in that. He nominates, and the Senate decide they will not schedule a confirmation hearing. What happens?
Nothing.
Nothing. So the Senate is not appointing, but they are finding a roundabout legal way not to do what the president wants. Or maybe they want a specific person to be appointed. Maybe they have intimated to the president, appoint this person. The president say, I'll appoint my own president. Okay, appoint your person. But when you appoint him, we will not schedule a confirmation hearing.
But
so what you see happening in the House there, there is a direct way to move the speaker, right?
Can the president do
majority.
Why they
forget about explanation. They can, once they have the 2/3 majority, they can even write Chinese on the paper and sign and remove him. But since they don't have the 2/3 majority, they are finding a roundabout way to remove him. And that roundabout way is we will deny him of a quorum until he comes to his senses. It's legal, it's alternative, but it's legal. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you need a quorum to govern. So if you can't get a quorum, you can't govern. When you're tired, you will give up and then you will come over and take. So it's legal. It may not be the direct approach, but it's legal. They're not doing anything illegal. You know. So the other thing I wanted to say is constitutionally and for most parliamentarian system, we have a presidential system. But for most parliamentarian system, when you lose your governing majority, you resign, and automatically you convene a new election. That's how you can see states like Israel, Italy, and other places, they have so many elections. Because the moment, let's say you form a coalition government, and one of the parties withdraws, you lose your governing majority, you dissolve parliament, immediately you call a new election. So for that, you're supposed to know that constitutionally. But you know, Liberia, the millions of dollars are at stake, free money in the government, so nobody is going to use reason and caution because so much free money is at stake.
Thank you. Then the last thing I want you to comment on before we go is the bribery part. What constitutes bribery? Like what they were saying that each person was getting 15,000 to vote a certain way. Does that constitute bribery? For now, under the law, we call that hearsay.
Yeah, that's an allegation. We're assuming
that's hearsay, right? We have to wait for the LACC or the Ministry of Justice or the National Police to tell us that they have conducted an investigation and they are going to charge some people. The first problem, I believe the LACC, I think, out of inexperience or whatever, but they're always talking before they act. When you run an institution like the LACC, you don't talk. Let the press report whatever they want to report. You just do your background investigation, and when you get to the point of calling people in, the press will know. But I noticed the chairperson, I remember she came over again and said they were investigating the 15 million extra budgetary expenditure. And now she says they're investigating this bribery allegation. That is not a political body.
What constitutes a bribery in our legal system?
Under Liberian law, and that's under 12.5 of the penal law. When you give an item of value in exchange for somebody to like carry on an action, I don't know if I can just read the law directly. So bribery. A person have committed bribery, the second-degree felony, if he notably gives and agrees to give another, solicit, accept, or agrees to offer a thing of value, the recipient official action as a public servant. The recipient is in violation of a new or known duty. So if the public servant has an official duty, maybe you're a medical doctor appointed to a clinic and you need to serve the public, and then you start taking money to decide who to serve and who to serve first or who to give a particular medication, that will constitute bribery. So it has to be one, you have to give something that is valuable. It doesn't even have to be money. Two, the person must have a pre-existing duty or lawful duty to do it without additional inducement. And it's not the same as lobbying.
Right.
Because lobbying is generally done by private sector actors who want to influence decision, and the representative or whatever, they don't really have an existing duty to do it. So if you want to maybe construct a business or whatever, I don't know, and you go and you're trying to get some concession deal, whatever,
Yeah.
you can try to influence a decision through the political process. Like you invite people for dinner, you have meeting with them, stuff like that. That's different.
Yeah.
But once you cross that point and say, look, I'm going to give you $500 or $5,000, and when you
Right.
go to session next time and you people are voting, I want you to vote this way or that way. That's no longer lobbying. That's influence peddling. That's bribery and stuff like that.
So just cutting to the chase, if it were established that Representative X gave money to Representative Y to vote a certain way, that would be bribery.
Yeah, definitely. But the point, let me tell you, it's a little more complex in this case because
Yeah, the investigation
at least
was
for the
found out.
3 persons are being accused of bribery, what will LACC do? If they were to indict all 43, will we have a government?
We have a special elections. If they are found guilty and removed, we'll have a special election.
I don't see it because, for example, if you're looking at the president you're dealing with, you're looking at the justice. I mean, the justice ministry is operating like we don't even have a justice ministry in the country.
Yeah. I mean,
People-
that one is the political part. The
Right.
one we wanted to establish is bribery can happen here, right? Mr. Salif, let's draw more line between bribery and lobby. I had it. This my little research I was doing. They say lobby is the organizing of a group of like-minded people, industries, or entity to influence an authoritative body or lawmaking individual, often through financial contribution. Bribery involves the payment of something, either money or goods, or an intangible favor in the subversion of normal practices for gain or special treatment, or in order to get an advantage. In the U.S., lobbying is legal while bribery is not. Bribery is an effort to buy power, while lobbying is just an effort to influence it.
Right.
We heard this a lot of time during President Salif's time, right? Where they would send brown envelope and say, this is lobbying.
That's not lobbying. That's not they're sending brown envelopes. It's not lobbying.
It's bribery.
Yeah. So one thing Attorney Freeman said, I just wanted to the dinner part. You organize dinner as a lobbyist and invite lawmakers, and there's a fine line there because then you're offering something of value as well. Because the stomach is the vehicle that's carrying something of value, right? In that case, because in some context you have ethical standards for what kind of gift do you receive or offer a public official. What is the value of that gift? How much can you? Some organizations, private sector organizations, even you're working for, they have rules for, whether you accept gift value more than $50 or whatever. But in terms of lobbying and versus bribery, like you read in the U.S. and I believe it's in Liberia as well, lobbying is legal. You are influencing a decision. And so you might provide information to the decision makers, for instance. They may not have the expertise or the knowledge. You could hire somebody who has the expertise to really investigate or provide some technical information. You could demonstrate the benefit.
It is that person that you are paying, not the people.
Not the public official. You're paying a private individual who is an expert in this matter. Let's say the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, needs to issue some kind of environmental clearance for someone to construct a factory or something like that, and they do the assessment and so on. And they say, well, this is going to be contamination, damage. You could hire somebody to do the research, look at the local community, how many jobs it will create, what benefits. This politician, you could say, look, this is going to be in your constituency, and the people will benefit, will provide jobs. So with the pros is higher than the cons. You convince them so that when they go to that decision-making process, they can say, look, I have additional information. I believe this will mitigate this and that. And they make that decision in your favor. The person who is lobbying is trying to influence the decision. That is not illegal. Bribery, on the other hand, like Tony Freeman explained, right? You are intentionally exchanging one value for a favor in order for someone to violate the public duty to the public. That is, the allegation we have before us here. These are hearsay, these are allegations, but in Liberia, we know these kinds of allegations, usually where there's smoke, you trace some fire there. And on the political aspect of that, though, what kind of endorsements do we see happening in our politics? Most times it boils down to illegal activities. People distribute money. Some people even say money laundering. Somebody giving 1.4 million a month cash to someone in the bag, and they're going around distributing to people, these kinds of things. So there are all kinds of, if you really truly want to investigate, if the LSCC wants to get to the bottom of this, the implications are just very consequential.
Dennis, if I may add quickly, there are also guidelines laid down that govern lobbying. You have to register. You have to declare yourself, your intentions.
And you are not a current lawmaker.
You're not a current sitting lawmaker. You don't take cash and put it in a car and go follow somebody in the back of the house to lobby them. I think this is what is being done right now that is concerning.
But Mr. Nambe, why is that not on the forefront?
What is not? You mean
the lobbying, the bribery, the part of money changing hands is not really what is being talked about the most.
No.
Well, you keep speaking on it like it's a fact.
It is. And it is almost as if all of them who are accusing each other are embroiled in this thing. Koffa himself came to the speaker position by doing practically the same thing they're doing to him now. A lot of money, was reportedly, a lot of money reportedly changed hands. So basically, they're returning the favor. But in this case, you can say he was trying to influence the vote, I guess, to vote him in. And now they're trying to remove him. There's a slight difference here. There is a process laid out to remove the speaker. Our fellows are not following the prescription to remove him.
Dr. Pearson, why is Speaker Koffa not pouncing on this bribery aspect just to free himself? Right? Is it because he himself is in it?
I wouldn't want to speculate on the issue of Speaker Koffa using.
Yeah, but why is he not talking about the bribe? I heard he was somewhere exonerating himself.
Today, Speaker Koffa today on Spoon Network, he did mention bribery. I'm not bribery, but some corruption taking place in house. But I don't want to dwell on that. No,
I want you to dwell on this.
Wait. There are two parts.
Before you move on, I want you to dwell on why is Speaker Koffa not talking about the bribery allegation?
Because it's not helpful to him in the House of Representatives. It's really no use to him there.
Nobody want to be associated with bribery. So if the other
also though, Dennis, like Mr. Nangme says, the culture of corruption, the acceptance of this bad behavior in our society writ large, that people have come to normalize it as something that is perhaps even illegal.
Then protect me, please.
No, I want you to speak to that directly.
There's no evidence. There's no evidence to show that.
Dr. Pearson.
Yeah.
They are talking about investigation, right? But this is even way graver of more magnitude than moving speaker, not moving speaker. But Speaker Koffa could have used it to his own defense, but he's not talking about it. Is it because bribery is normalized in the House?
The best comment I can give to you is that he wants to build bridge. He doesn't want to burn the bridges that you already have with those guys. That's the best answer I can give you. But I want to go back
by looking the other way when bribery occurs.
No, he's not looking the other way. He's addressing the issue as they come before him. Now let me go to something that the attorney mentioned, and I think is very key. One of the things I know about Liberia, Dennis, is this, right? Because someone does something, and nobody take action against it, then we feel it is legal or it is right to do, and then want to repeat it. And that's what we're seeing happening right now. Let me go back to
the bribery.
When attorney, I agree with you. Let me go back to what attorney said about the legality of the House, right? And one of the unique things he mentioned was that the president has the power to appoint people. You know, that's one of the things we can overstretch the will and pleasure of the president to appoint. We saw President Boyka abuse it in the first few weeks of his presidency. But Dennis, I put something in the chat. Article 54. I want you to please put it up before I make the comment for the people. It's going to spark. I think it's going to spark discussion in Liberia when I say this. It's going to spark discussion in Liberia. It's going to spark a discussion in Liberia. If they find it, Article 54 of the Constitution. We normally can just browse over it. Article 54, just for our viewing audience.
Mhm.
Let me know if you got it.
Just so you can talk about the bribery.
Yeah. So I can talk about the bribery. But what I want to stress here is that, you know, during Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration, a good friend, who she wanted to be, Senate mayor, our beloved mother, who can guess her name? Our beloved mother, Senate mayor, who clean all the streets in Monrovia, Mary Bro.
Mary Brown was a lawless individual, so I don't know who she belonged to you. I remember her being lawless.
Yeah, that to you. But for Liberian people, they say she was a darling girl.
Okay, fine.
She was a long-serving public official in Liberia. But let's look at it, right? When the House tried to reject her, Madam Sirleaf introduced the appointment as acting, like you said, right? She bypassed the official process of a nomination for how you call it, for confirmation. She bypassed that and appointed. That sparked a big argument in Liberia. Big argument, Mr. Dennis. We argued that thing back and forth that it was illegal for Madam President to do that, but it passed. It went through because she had support of the legislature because she was controlling it. I want to read Article 54 for the people of Liberia to hear me. I hope Councillor Gonglo will listen to this one. Councillor Gonglo and Speaker Koffa will listen to this. The president does not have the power to give anybody acting position that is required for nomination. The president, in fact, there has to be nomination before appointment. And I want to read it. Dennis put it. I want to read it. There has to be nomination.
But you are discussing different thing now.
No, I'm going somewhere with this. There has to be nomination before appointment.
All right. Let me do as you will. The president shall nominate and, with the consent of the Senate, appoint and commission cabinet ministers, deputy and assistant cabinet minister, ambassadors, minister counsel, and the chief justice, associate justice, and it goes on and on and on.
Right.
Your main point is in the first part.
The process here is that the president has the constitutional responsibility to nominate as the first step. The Senate will confirm the individual, then the president will commission them. We have had presidents violate this constitution to the extent that we made a president so superior that if they want to remove people from LTA or they want to remove people from Central Bank, they will just nominate somebody there or appoint them without the nomination process and bypass the constitution. I'm bringing this up for a reason, because if we continue to allow our presidents to slide, then we're not constitutional. Now we're going on to the House of Representatives. Those guys do not have the constitutional mandate to hold section outside of the official section of the Constitution. And I want the attorney here to be clear about that. In Article 33, they said even if they think they have majority over 37% or 40%, they cannot go because they're 40 and they got majority number. They go anywhere and go open session there and have their own speaker and their own representative and hold a session. It doesn't work like that. In fact, the Constitution provides the letter to Speaker Tyler. It's misleading. The letter to Speaker Tyler is misleading. The Constitution says if the House convene and they do not have majority, they have the right to not to continue session, but they can compel those who feel they have the majority to come to session. And let me say this.
And what would be that process? Yeah. I want to learn quickly. What would be that process of compelling?
It's like normally what our guys are supposed to do is to give the guys in maybe a written notice to come to job, or maybe go and give them a verbal notice, maybe with a
if they don't do it, then what do you do?
Well, if it is disciplinary measure will be taken.
Like what?
I'm telling you, disciplinary. by the Constitution and by the rules. Now listen, if they are not coming to work, they cannot receive the pay. They cannot receive the benefits. They are not working.
Thank you.
And I will do that by going to the Supreme Court to interpret the Constitution.
Thank you.
We
Let me
cannot
go
have a
to
lawless
Jimmy. Jimmy, we're talking about the bribery part. And that's the question Dr. Pearson tried to dodge.
No, I didn't dodge it. I
Going
didn't
to
dodge it.
Waka and you know,
No, I didn't dodge it. LSC is investigating.
Yeah, no, I'm saying why is Councillor Funati Koffa not talking about the bribery? Is it because it's normal? That's
No,
why all of them.
because
Jimmy, I want you to.
Because
I heard you, Dr. Pearson. Let me talk to Jimmy.
Yeah.
I heard you, Dr. Pierce. Jimmy, why is the bribery aspect of this is not the focus?
That's an excellent question. He is steering clear of it because it is taboo. You see, not only will he upset his colleagues even further, but now he is going to invoke sanctions on various members of the legislature, of the House. He knows very well that this accusation, the what they call it, the Nowitzki Committee, is going after people who accept bribes, government officials who accept bribes. So you're going to put them on the blacklist. You're going to also alienate them. And so you're going down a rabbit hole. So he's trying to avoid it. And since those first whistleblowers have come forth, you see they're trying to snuff it out. And I will be ultimately surprised if this bribery case is investigated, because I am of the opinion that we have in leadership people who do not do things unscrupulously. They do things they know are wrong, and they have a way of covering it up. So the bribery aspect of this, which should be blaring, is slowly been swept on the rug. They get put in a hush. Nobody wants to talk about it because of the stigma it will bring and the punishment it will evoke. That is why he's evading it. If we do an investigation at LAC, which it shouldn't be hard, if we got here whistleblowers, we have somebody who brought the FOC cash, 15,000 or 14,000 some cash to them. But you know, in Liberia, we have seen drug dealers walk free, and you catch them with the evidence right in their hand. So we are under a den of unscrupulous actors, and somebody named it a cartel once upon a time. It's beginning to show itself more and more. There is a cartel in Liberia. And if we don't find a way out of from under this cartel, we will not go anywhere.
Dr. Pearson, one more time, I want to give you this opportunity to talk about the bribe. Do you agree with Jimmy that Koffa is trying to stay clear of it because it's a taboo in the legislature?
No.
All right. Let me go to. That's all I needed. You said no.
I said no. I said no because
I understand it.
They say
that's enough. I got it.
No, when matters are being investigated,
oh boy,
you want to be careful not to get involved before the people consider you to be tampering with the evidence. I
get it, Dr. Pearson. I just wanted a yes or no. I got you.
Yeah, let me tell you what I think. If Funati is a lawyer, Funati knows that bribery thing will not help him retain his speakership. It can do anything for him. So Funati is not going to emphasize it because Funati wants to retain his speakership. So retaining his speakership, he needs some political leverage. First thing, they have to investigate the bribery.
Right.
It may take time. What if it takes 3 months, 6 months, 18 months? Then what happens? So Funati doesn't want to waste his time on something that he has no control over. He rather go through the political process. Now, what I found laughable is his argument that he will go to the Supreme Court and he will compel the Supreme Court since he in the minority, he will tell the Supreme Court, compel the majority to come and submit to me. I find that shocking. I mean, I don't understand. If somebody did constitutional law, how are you going to go to a Supreme Court and ask them that I'm in the minority, but tell the majority to submit to my gavel?
No, to come
It's
to work.
ludicrous.
To come to work.
I don't know which continent that happens on. So when you go to the Supreme Court,
So Dr. Anthony Freeman, what does this mean now? This Article 33. But a lower number may adjourn from day to day and compel the attendance of the absent members.
what it means,
Yes, sir.
it's just one of those things that we wrote and took from the American Constitution without any semblance of what it really means.
Anthony, this is the
Come
constitutional.
here, give me a break.
No,
and answer the question.
that's a technical point there, though.
No, give me a point. Give me a break.
But the
I'm
speaker,
telling you.
the speaker tried that today. It didn't work.
I'm telling you,
Let him finish.
constitutional democracy, the way it works, you must have the majority on your side. The moment you lose that majority, there is nothing you can do. We have seen it happen in a Snow case. Snow went to the court ruled for him, he came back, they still remove him. We have seen it in the Tyler case. Tyler went to the Supreme Court, they ruled for him, he came back, they still remove him. Because what? That body is a political body. It goes by numbers. In a lot of countries, once you lose the majority, you have to call a new election.
Anthony
So,
Freeman,
Koffa,
Anthony Freeman,
I understand as a constitutional person,
Anthony,
he's supposed to know that once he has lost the majority, there is nothing. The Supreme Court operates mostly, if it's not a technical law, like maybe engineering law or space laws, they operate by using the common man standard, the ordinary person standard. That's what they use. So it is nonsensical for an ordinary person to be in the minority and go to the Supreme Court and say, please compel the majority to submit to me. It's nonsensical. And the Supreme Court is likely to throw it out.
Attorney Freeman, why don't look at it this way? They are the constituted authority, the speaker and deputy speaker. So can they compel the guys below them to say, come to work, as Dr. Pearson will point?
Yes, they can. And then if they choose not to, then what happens?
we seize their pay.
Then-
What are you talking about? They don't live on pay. They live on black money. They live on confiscation of the country resources. So they have a long wiggle room. So you can seize their pay even for 4 or 5 more. Those guys don't live on pay. They live on bribery.
This is where
Dr.
This is
Pearson,
more.
hold on. I want to go to admin.
This is more of a political question than a justiciable or legal question. If I were Speaker Koffa, a number of things are happening here. There's conflict. You know, the people are obviously agitated. They have grievances against you. They've made allegations of, against you. There's a whole slew of allegations. Last week, we talked about the appearance of conflict of interest or real conflict. They're saying there were real conflict of interest, and the majority, they are in the majority, right? You can look at it from a technical legal standpoint or technical political standpoint. They are in the majority, and they say, "Look, we have no confidence in your leadership. If you want to remain a leader, you negotiate." You try to resolve conflict, you try to do things, not illegal things, but try to influence, lobby some of these people to break away, or even because look, you may go to court and win something, and like Freeman is saying, right, you may go to court and win something, and you come back, but the people say, we don't respect you, we don't want you to be our leader. That is a major problem that the speaker
the people
has.
who the Liberian problem, the people who the Liberian problem,
Dr. Pearson.
So they are the Liberians representative.
Dr. Pearson, let him finish.
Yeah, you're speaking one. I can hear. I'm not protected, Dr. Pearson. If you want me to protect your space when you're speaking, I'll have to finish. So the point there is, this is the political theater, right? And, Freeman started by saying it's a quasi-political institution. A legal institution. It is a political institution. So you have to survive politically before you can use legal technicality to address issues. You have a major conflict. yeah, those conflict, those allegations of conflict of interest, some of them may be substantiated, some may not. We don't know. These are all allegations, right? But those are what they've presented as their grievances so that they can gain legitimacy with the public. You also have to remember now there is the code of public opinion. So the media is there, there's public opinion, the citizens who send them there, what are they saying? Where are they? Whose side are they on? And so if the majority of these people, that it may not be technically majority, but 43 out of 73 say we don't have confidence in you. If you want to remain their leader, you're going to have to win their support. And you do that politically and conflict resolution and other types of influencing. Dennis, we can't hear you now. I don't know if it's just me.
Sorry, Mr. Nabe, let's look at what Councillor Koffa is facing. How big of a deal is this?
Well, you know that I was going to remind us. If you read this guy, Ambassador Rufus Newville, he gave a narrative of what they went through during the snow time. Right, I think they were meeting at the pavilion, and the other group was meeting at Hotel Africa. And I think at the beginning of the show, someone mentioned that one day they came to work and the speaker's chair was gone. The sergeant at arms decided, and the chair belonged to the majority bloc. They went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled in their favor, and yet they didn't have the numbers. Even here in the States, the U.S. lawmakers here, they had to flee. I think they fled to Puerto Rico at one point in time to avoid. Yes, the speaker said today he sent the sergeant at arms to go and arrest these people and bring them in, but you have to be able to get to them. So they make sure they stay out of the reach of the sergeant at arms. Our lawmakers, for all we know, they can go to Sierra Leone and sit down there. This is all about the numbers. It's not going to be through the Supreme Court. The speaker has to go out and get the numbers. And I'll be honest with you. I heard Dr. Pearson say he's not burning bridges. I'm not sure. The kind of mud he was slinging today, I am not very sure how many bridges he was able to rebuild. You know, he did dish out a lot of dirt relative to the budgeting and all of that. And I think he may have dug himself much deeper in terms of getting the numbers on his side, because you have to be strategic about these things. So I don't know what strategy he's pursuing, but I saw him today. He seemed very combative. There are charges against him. He has to accept that these people do also have issues with him. He has issues with them. Somewhere he has to find the middle ground. But I think he came in, dug in, very combative. Yes, it is a labyrinth thing. You got to project strength. You got to be masculine. You got to be, But I would have thought a more strategic thing would have been to try and win more people over to his side, get back into the speaker's chair, and then do all of the other stuff he was talking about. So no matter which way we put it, it's always going to be about the numbers. They can even go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court may rule in his favor. But he has to physically be able to bring these people back into the House for them to vote. And that is not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
Are you suggesting Speaker Koffa is not going to survive this?
The way he's proceeding, I doubt it. I
was shocked to see him himself actually appear too, and I would have thought he would have used surrogates. He would have used different kind of strategies and stay in the background and really try to reduce people's numbers, bring people on his side, reconcile do some other political strategy thing.
And more than that, Mr. Sully, I thought his choice of appearance too was kind of questionable. I know he's trying to reach the bigger audience and all of that, but he appeared on a station that is not exactly too friendly to his base. So what does that say to his editions and all of that? So now how many CDC lawmakers now will see that and say, you know what, I think our man right, let me go beyond him. I was really sitting there and I was really trying to figure out what the strategy is that he's trying to employ. I didn't see a strategy today at all.
Dennis, you got to mute.
Dennis, let me come in real quick.
I don't know if I can come in on this political question.
I gotta come.
Let me just
hold on, Dr. Pearson. You got to be Fremont and then Jimmy. Before you come in, you are just in.
The first thing I want to say is that I don't think the speaker has a strategy. The first disappointing thing is for him to go to the Capitol building without assurances that he was going to have the number. The first thing, it makes him look like he's on the losing side. You don't go appear to the Capitol building if you're not sure you're going to muster the number. You stay away. And you muster the number in the background and you go there. No, these people, they just use money to get to power. But a lot of them don't understand. A lot of us here can do far better than some of these people. Why carry him to the Capitol building when he didn't have the numbers? Now he looks like he's losing. Now he's telling the majority that they should come and submit to him. It doesn't make any sense. So I don't think he understands strategy. I don't think he understands politics. And when he had the leverage to use it, like for example, when Yeke brought the case up about bribery, it was very clear. Yeke had evidence. He could have used it to his advantage. He didn't even use it. So this is a man who has had advantages in the past that he's never used. He's not going to survive. And if I were him, I would tender my resignation as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'd like to come in. I agree with Councilor Freeman on this one. This is a losing battle. It's going to have a snowball effect. It's going to get worse and worse. The idea, it's like he's in quicksand. The more he tries to wiggle, the more he exposes his colleagues, which he did a lot of it today, will further alienate him from them. These guys they're doing what we call in Liberia, kuku jumuku. You're not inside, you don't know. He's exposing the thing to the public, which we already knew. But here it is, a deputy speaker and speaker has begun to say how the people pad the budget and go behind when they finish passing it, go to the ministries and tell them, say, okay, there's 2 million for you, but there's other million for us. We'll give you something. He exposed all that. You think that's going to sit well with his colleagues? No, it's going to get only worse. So this is a losing battle, and if we're looking at the analysis of people in the similar position, the Snow, the Tyler, they also lost the battle. When those people get ready, when they get ready and say they want you, they will manipulate it until they get you out. And he talked about the manipulators as well, the veteran manipulators. He's fighting a losing battle right now. And I would do the honorable thing and step away.
So Jimmy, before you give the mic, they are accusing him of a whole lot of things. He came back to, he said, hey, I'm trying to clean house. And they don't like it. That's why they let me go. Right? How does that help him too?
Yeah, well, yes, what they say. He with clean hands. Y'all know the quote. He's been there a while. There have things that have been, he knows he was revealing things that were going on. He didn't blow the whistle then. So he's complicit. If he had blown the whistle when these things were going on right under his nose that he had knowledge of, then he'd had clean hands. But he has been part and parcel of these procedures. And today, because he's in this fight, he's exposing it. So it's like quicksand. It's only going to get worse and worse and worse. But the thing is, we Liberians, we need to divulge ourselves of this kind of governance, because our poor people, our children, none of them will get what they need so they can have a better future.
Like Dr. Pearson, many are asking Councilor Fonati Koffa, why now? Why are you talking about this debt now when you've been sitting down in the debt for all this while?
Dennis, when I'm listening to the conversation tonight, we are being very disingenuous to our very advocacy for good governance in Liberia. Number one, I see people here throwing the Constitution away as though the Constitution is not relevant to the conversation. Article 33 is clear. The majority does not run the House of the Representatives. It doesn't say because you're majority, so you can go form your own legislature somewhere.
So let's take that article line by line so you can break it down. What you mean?
Simple majority of each house shall constitute a quorum.
Correct.
For the transaction of business.
Okay, so let's stop there. Let's stop there. Which of them does the Koffa group have a quorum?
There's nothing in my mind right now that says there's a Koffa group and there's a
Oh,
and there's
come on, man.
a
Stop being
running gate
pedantic about
for
this
session.
thing.
Nothing. And let me get the second
No,
sentence.
but does anyone have a quorum?
No, but you cannot interpret the law by picking and choosing what you
No, man,
want.
that's a simple question.
No,
man.
the simple majority theory, though, Dennis.
No.
Dr. Pearson, quick interjection. The simple majority theory there, even Koffa is arguing that the 43, they don't constitute quorum because constitutionally they have to be up to they have to have 79 or 40. Yeah,
49.
you know.
No, quorum is different from.
No, I'm not saying that's quorum. I'm saying that's
Okay.
what Koffa is arguing, right? He's looking at the quorum theory and he says, then he looks at the total number and says, yeah, this is, you don't have quorum. So until you can get to this number, you cannot legally sit as the legislature, as the lower house.
No, Dennis, let me let my
They
talk.
can impeach him.
Dennis,
They une to 10, which is 49 can impeach him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
43, that's a quorum.
yeah,
Right.
let me let
Dennis,
my talk.
Why Dr. Pearson is learning, if the speaker knew today he went to session, if he knew he could conduct business, he would have done so. He had 30 people with him.
I agree. As a matter of strategy, he should have gone there.
Let me let my thoughts.
He
Let me
presented
let my
strategy and arms
No,
after the
no,
other
but-
people
but-
go and
but-
bring them.
Dr. Pearson,
let me let my
you are invading the question because you want to make a political point. I don't know what they call
No, let me let my thoughts.
go ahead.
There's nothing in the Constitution that says that the House of Representatives or the Senator cannot convene because they don't have the majority. They have to enter the hall. They have to sit in section. They have to do a roll call. And if they establish that they do not have a quorum for their session, then they have to adjourn. That's what the Constitution says. It doesn't
We
say
agree.
it doesn't say because they don't have the majority, so they can't have a session.
No, we're not arguing that. We know that.
Nobody said
Pearson.
that.
Yeah, but then
What we're saying is, as a
No,
matter
no,
of strategy,
No, don't tell me what I'm saying. Read the Constitution.
no, I'm telling what I'm saying. I'm saying don't attribute that. That's what we're saying here. At least for me, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is, and I agree with Freeman, as a matter of political strategy, if I know technically as the speaker, I go to that chamber, I will not have the majority to conduct business. I'm not going there because again, it makes you to appear.
The Constitution adjusts that. The Constitution says if the quorum does not exist, it says that it's a B. It says, but a lower number may adjourn from day to day.
Yes.
And compare the attendance of the absent member. So it doesn't say they cannot sit because they don't have majority. It says if they elect, they can sit.
So what is your point?
My
He's
point
not
is
even making any point. He's just confusing.
no. My point is that there's nothing wrong with the House of Representatives convening because they
Okay.
don't have the majority.
We agree. Let
But
me
we all agree to that one point
We
that
agree.
they can convene, but as a matter of political strategy, you
what
go
can they
there
do if they
and then
convene?
compare them to attend.
You know,
How?
Dennis, this is just the African mentality. In any civilized country by now, Koffa will have sent in his resignation.
In corrupt society,
But he will not send in his resignation because the sheer amount of money this guy gets is too much for them to give up. But in any civilized country, if you are leading 70, no, just make a last point. If you are the head of a 73-person body, and at least 42 of those people come together and say, we don't want you.
49
What's there to fight over?
49.
What's there to fight over?
49.
No, listen, that's why I said the Constitution can give you a legal right, and there's an alternative way to get what you want.
There is no
I
corrupt.
started it. So all two are legal. The fact that the Constitution says you need to move the person with 2/3 majority, it doesn't mean that you can move the person with other strategy. The other strategy is you will not attend and will deny him of a quorum. When he gets tired, he will send in your resignation. It's also legal.
We will compare them. The people will compare them to go to work.
it's not going to work. Dennis, last week, now
And I ask you again, hold on, Salif. How do you compel them? Go to the Supreme Court and say, let them come?
No, listen, I told you, but you don't want to pay attention. The Constitution is not vague. The Constitution says you compel them.
Yes,
So you
I
come to
agree.
work, there are other alternative measures you can take. You can stop their salary. You can stop
Right.
their benefits.
But meanwhile, you still don't have a quorum.
Exactly. Then the next step is that we move to remove them from section.
How? Okay, let's go through
the people. Dennis, the people. We will finalize it.
Hold on. Let's go through it step by
Look,
step.
let Pearson tell us a historical example of where this thing occurred.
Because
This was a historical example of where it occurred, where the majority decided that a particular leader can be their leader, and the Supreme Court compelled them for him to be the leader. Give us a historical example.
I will not rely on the violation of the rule of law as a precedent for moving our country forward. That's why I get a legislature where it is today. No
example, no historical example that ever occurred anywhere on this.
Dr. Pearson, let me ask you this. Dr. Pearson, let's take it step by step, right? So, we meet today, there is no quorum, and you compare them. So, for the next 6 months,
we will be on it. The President Barker will not get a budget.
Okay.
President Barker will not have a budget.
It's not logical now. He's not making a logical argument now.
That was one of the compelling reasons the speaker cited that the government business has to be done. The president has written him 3 letters that he needs to act on. So even by an extension, he himself
that's already on the floor. Mr. Nawi, let me ask you: if you take a step back, what actually is propelling these things to happen? What is the cause? Why are we saying this? Is it because, according to Speaker Koffa, he wants to institute reform and they don't like it? Is it actually because of what they put on the paper? Or is it something else?
You know, to be honest with you, Mr. Ja, it could be a combination of all of the above, right? And I said it here the last time on the show, I'm not a fan of Koffa's. Think I will support him retaining the post because of some of the measures that he has attempted to institute. I know Councillor here has written extensively about the unseriousness of the Speaker and the President pro tem to actually audit the both houses. But I maintain that they are making some attempt, and to me, that is laudable. So the Speaker, for the first time, is attempting to audit the House. He is also announcing that he is now going to pay keen attention to the budgeting, the development of the budget. He alluded to that today, how the budget is being manipulated, even though when he had the opportunity, when the recent budget was altered, he said he didn't recognize who signed or whatever it was. But, you know, that is under the bridge now. So because of that, I would have opted really to give me a little bit of space, and let's see how far he would have gone with that. But that would have been one of the reasons, because a lot has been written about the potential for uncovering a lot of stuff in the House that could lead to even some of the people who are no more in the House in other higher offices. That is a problem. On the other hand, they are also accusing him of conflict of interest. That is major. He represents practically every major corporation that he's also overseeing. That is a conflict of interest. That's good enough. It's just that the way the process is being rendered, that's what I have a problem with. The people could have had a very good case, and they could have presented their case, and maybe they would have gotten the vote. But why do they have to be motivated financially? I think this is what ruined their case. So yes, it's possible that they're moving against him because he is trying to bring reform to the process. It is possible they are also moving against him because they say he has conflict of interest. So it could be a combination of all. But what I find troubling is what we also say, he doesn't seem to have a strategy on how he's going to defeat this, because this is really, it almost has left the station before he got back into the country. The guys have grown to such a number and have become so bold that they are publicly declaring that they will not sit under his gavel. He himself made it to that today. He had 30 people with him. They have 43. He said, 35. Whatever the number, they're still in the majority. And we are saying we saw that with Melvin Snow. Snow really tried. He was convening dueling sessions until he had to give in because he could not muster the number. Even with the intervention of the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court ruled in his favor that yes, you have the right to remain, but we cannot tell the people to come on a gavel. That's not our authority. So they can go so far. So yeah, he can go to court and do all of that, but he has to be able to get the numbers. And the way he presented today, to me, if I were advising him, I wouldn't advise him to go the way he did today, because I think he drove more numbers away from him today based on his presentation.
Dennis, last week on Tough Talking, I said repeatedly those two things that Mr. Nangbe ended on, that what we're hearing is that the speaker wants to bring reform, he wants to audit, and that was the trigger. And as you're aware, organization like Bureau of Governance Justice, the initiative, but we're monitoring the situation as well, talking to people inside, trying to understand exactly what are the root causes and where is this going. What someone said to me today was these people don't want to be audited, and that the speaker himself is not innocent, he's corrupt. Now, I don't have any evidence of that, but that was the information. They said, well, so we're trying to muslink, and they're basically blackmailing him to say, look, we'll push you, we'll threaten you with impeachment and trying to remove you, and then you'll soften on this audit thing, right? So it was not a coincidence that I mentioned reform and trying to, bring about changes that people don't want. So those other lawmakers are saying, we don't want this idea of audit that you're trying to bring here. And we also have some, stuff on you. So we'll push you to threaten to kick you out, and then you will drop that, and then we'll come back to status quo. So someone said, don't be surprised. At the end of the day, all of this will settle. They'll go back to business as if nothing happened. And as long as Koffa agrees not to audit them and he drops the reform issues and things like that. And that's all. It could have been, maybe that's the strategy. That's why he came on spoon and he was striking the way he did today. I don't know, but that was the kind of information that I got. Because last week we were saying, as a matter of respecting institutions and rule of law, it's a good thing to audit. It's a good thing that he's talking about putting in mechanisms that will make the House to be auditable. And now people don't want that, and they're triggering all of these things. So it's really,
you don't have
Dennis, I have to beg to differ on this audit thing.
so it's really a double-edged, sword that's come here. They say, well, we're threatening to remove him. He wants to remain in power. He was softened, and then we drop the whole removal and audit, and then we move on business as usual. And that's not in the interest of the Liberian people, if truly that is what's going to happen.
Dennis, I have to beg to differ on the audit thing. Fanatic Koffa is not new to government. Fanatic Koffa got no intention of auditing. In fact, the first thing Fanatic Koffa started stealing from Liberia long before CDC government. I remember Manasali gave Fanatic Koffa more than $4 million to pursue a $900,000 case. That was the People 1, People 2 case. He got more than $4 million. Have you ever heard somebody getting more than $4 million to pursue a $900,000 case? And Fanatic Koffa took that $4 million before he even went to Europe to look for the evidence. So Fanatic Koffa is not anybody. He was there for the past 6 years. Let's assume, check the internet. He received the financial case. He received $4.5 million to pursue a $900,000 bribery case.
Can you give us a snippet of his name? Fanatic Koffa?
I said it was the Vanish Shimon corruption case. People 1, people 2.
Why are we taking that?
So what I'm saying, my man, go check it up.
I mean,
The point I'm making, it is not new. Fanatic Koffa was there. Just a minute, another point. Fanatic Koffa was deputy speaker when this house that we are talking about the past 6 years, they went to the central bank, and that's the central bank audit on 83 different occasions and drew down $11 million and put it in bags and walked out of the central bank. That was Fanatic Koffa, that was Buffer Chimos, that was deputy. What's the deputy? Thomas Fowler. Okay, so mama, give me a chance. You have your time, so give me a chance. And I'm speaking on where I have authority.
You gotta show proof.
I have authority on the subject matter. I'm Liberia foremost expert in financial crime, so I got authority on the matter, and I'm speaking in an area that I got authority. So give me a chance.
Hold on, Dr. Pearson, hold on.
Yes, I'm not. This is not. I'm giving you a technical opinion of what Fanatic Koffa have been doing. They've been committing crimes. And so Fanatic Koffa is not no injured that wanted to. You have $11 million placed in bags over over 3 or 4 years and walk out of there, and up to now they have not audited.
You believe that, Councilor Freeman? You believe that?
I think Piercy is
Councilor
right, though.
Freeman, do you
At least
really
they,
believe
according
that?
to this report,
Do you believe
according
that?
to this orders, you know, some newspaper, whatever,
So
give us
let's
some.
assume if Fonati Koffa wanted audit, he would have resigned the time George Weah and other people were having party with the Liberian government funds, and he didn't like the idea. He would have said, okay, I don't want to be deputy speaker, I resign. But that's not what Fonati Koffa did. He participated in it, he enjoyed it, he did everything that he wants to do. Even the past 10 months, he been doing everything. The only time we heard about audit when the people decided to move Fonati Koffa. So spare me that sweet talk. So
Thank you.
house, they have spent, just one last comment, they have spent nearly $800 million starting from 2005 to now. I've been checking it, and I check it. Nearly $800 million without audit. And you telling me today that suddenly Fonati Koffa has a change of heart, and now he wants accountability? Spare me that jazz.
Right. People can have their come to Jesus moment. But Jimmy,
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Jimmy, here's the thing, because if you look at what is happening now, you can really put your finger on whether it's Unity Party or CDC, because you have some CDC lawmakers that are part of the so-called majority bloc, right?
Mhm.
So they were charged in CDC court to say, hey, this man, Fonati Koffa, is too cozy with the president. In fact, by this time, we should have started impeachment proceedings against President Boakai, where he has been Fonati Koffa. Okay, or Fonati Koffa is trying to get rid of President or the former President Weah, so that so there have been a lot of accusations from CDC cycle. From we also remember even from the beginning when President Boakai was being accused of trying to bribe for the other guy, to Unity Party member, to become speaker.
Yeah.
So where we find ourselves today, we have there's a history. So in your mind now, according to you, what do you think is the root cause of this? What really is happening here? Is it Fonati Koffa for us? Is it a 40 for us? Or are they for themselves?
If for themselves. I can tell you what my analysis, but Councilor Freeman, how can you believe somebody will put $11 million in bag and run? It's not even practical.
Over 4 or 5 years, that's what was done. Over 4 to 5 years, it's in the CBO audit. So go read it for yourself.
Yeah, say at least show us. Yeah, Jimmy, go for it anyway.
Yeah, let me
Over 4 to 5 years in the CBO audit. This is not information I'm making up.
Let me tell you what my analysis is. He has closed off certain people. You see these committees. Look, it just makes me sad. If I talk about it, I get sadder and I get discouraged more and more. All these committees are money-making avenues for these people in the legislature. When they get on this committee, they have a way. They will have means of milking whatever funds, especially that Ways and Means, whatever funds there. He exposed a lot of it, and he talking. He said with that he committee business, that what they're going after. So he's closed some people off. Then he talking about want to do audit and all that. He has to take them off. He's closed the avenue. He closed it up for them, and they don't like it. So they're making a power move against him. That's all. It's all about greed. It's all about what they can get. Never about the Liberian people. Not one of them. It's all about what they're getting in their own pockets.
Dr. Pearson.
Including Fonati, right?
All of them.
Okay. And the CBO audit is open document, so you can read it. Over the past several years, Fonati, Thomas Fowler, Buffer Chimos, and the Public Accounts Committee over several years went to the bank and took physical cash totaling $11.1 million. Fonati Koffa was part and parcel of it. So when he started, deciding to like audits,
he could be born again yesterday. So I mean,
okay, that's fine.
But Dr. Pearson.
Let me just clarify something. If you say Fonati Koffa had $2 million budget for the past 4 years or 5 years, 2 times 5, that's $10 million. So what we're talking about here? Now, I got fast to that. I mean, just leave it.
Just go for the CBO audit report and read it yourself. Forget about what I'm saying. Take the CBO audit and read it yourself.
Let me say this. I think I want to talk about the way forward, Mr. Dennis. For me, the way forward.
We'll come to the way forward. Let's talk about now. You see, we always want to turn the page if we have not even read the page. So we're reading the page now.
So what you want me to talk about now?
What I want to talk about is what you think is responsible for this. What's fueling it?
Okay,
Is it from CDC? Is it from Unity Party? Is it from people? Is it
Listen.
from who in our interest? Is it Fanatic Koffa? Is it the party? Who?
In my word, Dennis, in my professional word, I look at trends, right? I look at trends. Who did not want Fanatic Koffa to be Speaker of the House of Representatives? President Boyka. Who took Fanatic Koffa to court to prevent him from becoming Speaker of the House of Representatives? President Boyka and the United Party and the Alliance. Who did Yeka Koluba accuse of giving a coupon that was legitimized and confirmed by J. Mac, President Boyka's black? Who's now trying to remove Speaker Koffa? Is the majority was in interest of President Boyka's interest? It's part of it. My colleague said that.
And what is Boyka's interest?
Dr. Douglas said that the other day. He said the person will not come and tell you, say, oh, he like to see Fanatic move. But any person who want to have a legislature that they got influence over, that they can pass the bill when they want it, that they can get the budget, finger anytime they want to finger the budget, and you bring the budget and nobody talk about the 15 million that was spent outside the budget, and nobody will investigate anything. People want that. That's how our country has been so backward. And I will say this for a fact. Let me be very clear with you. I want to say this because they governed wrong yesterday does not make it right to govern wrong today. Because they manipulated the legislature yesterday and got their will. They cannot do it today and get their will, and everything just passed because I know you and you know me, we're from Lofa. It's not going to happen. We're from UP. I will say this. Fanatic made some very startling revelations today. Number one, he said some guys came to him and they told him they wanted to be represented in Africa to go discuss certain business. That was not his function to execute. He said he told him, okay, I will try. He went to the secretary to write a letter, only to find out it would have been breached of his function. He said, no, it is the president's role to do this. Please communicate to the president to do that. Some of the people are offended with him. I'm not saying what he said was true. I'm saying that what he said. Another thing he said there are people who said they want to go represent the legislature outside the country. He appointed them to go represent the legislature. They took the positions. They went and represented the country. And then they are the same ones sitting there and said the men violated the rules. They didn't vote among themselves to get those people. He also said, and I will repeat here, he said he organized different subcommittees within the Budget and Finance Committee to make sure that the budget is streamlined so that one person can go and cut deals. And today they are vexing because he made multiple processes to streamline the budget, to open the budget.
So you believe Koffa's side of the story?
Koffa is, listen, look, Dennis, I will end on this. Dennis, let me tell you something. I live and work in Liberia. If you want to do the right thing in Liberia, you're not going to get it easy. There are more people who want to.
So you believe the Koffa story. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So I want to come to this other portion of it, right? Because the person who worked with these people is the president, President Boyka. Let's say if President Boyka wanted certain thing done in the House today, where is he going to send it? What is going to be President Boyka's role? Because he has to recognize. Let's say if the deadlock, if this gridlock continue for 2-3 months, what's President Boyka going to do? Is he going to recognize one side? Is he going to work with one group and not the other, or is he just going to wait it out? What will Boyka do, Mr. Freeman?
I don't know over the past 10 months whether Boyka has demonstrated leadership. I remember him accusing former President Weah of having the country on autopilot. But under Boyka leadership, the country is in retro gear. So I don't see Boyka doing anything. As a matter of fact, Boyka was just looking for a luxurious retirement. And now that he has it, he's going around the country, all the countries that he ever wanted to visit, he's visiting. But I don't see him demonstrating leadership. But there are so many examples that Boyka is not going to demonstrate leadership. For example, traveling with 50-man delegation. All Boyka has to do is say, I'm traveling with only 5 persons. But he doesn't do that. The delegation gets larger and larger and larger. So I don't see him doing anything. The country is on autopilot. And it will continue to be while Bouaka is president. That's it. It's a sad reality, but that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Nabi, what will Bouaka do?
I was hoping the learned counselor would have cited somewhere in the constitution. I don't know what the president would do, but obviously, the government cannot remain deadlocked for a longer period of time. I think the budget somewhere, I think it's coming. The budget process begins, I think, by the end of this month or something like that. You know, he has like the speaker said, he has a number of issues that he has submitted to the legislature that need to be addressed. So I don't know if he's able to wait too long. I'm
Right.
assuming he may want to go to the Supreme Court to get some kind of leeway. I don't know exactly what pathway the law has laid down for him. If the House of Representatives deadlocked.
You think he's going to lobby or send brown envelope or do something or
That's why.
or say something about it publicly?
Under the normal circumstances, he would behind the scenes try to mediate. Maybe he would do so because it is in his interest to have a functioning House of Representatives. He doesn't want a dysfunctional House of Representatives. But again, as Dr. Pearson said, there are several instances when we know he has tried to remove this very speaker. So he could see this as an opportunity. I mean, we know the battle for this speaker position was between he and Kuhn, and the UP government really dug in. The president invited the people to his house. We heard money was offered to elect Representative Richard Kuhn against Speaker Koffa. That didn't work. Then, of course, the Yega Koluba allegation and all of that. So we know this president too has tried to deny the speaker the position. So this could be an opportunity presented to him, maybe in disguise. I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be tricky to see what's going to happen in the next few days going forward.
Mr. Salif.
I think if it got to the point where people fear there will be a political crisis, I mean, if you look at examples in other, I always like to cite countries that are similar to us or we've looked to. A lot of our system is copied after the U.S. system. They have stronger institutions than we do, but we copy their institutional models. You see the executive branch engaging in, I mean, the presidency is such a powerful institution in our system in Liberia. Yes, the legislature is the first branch of government, but a lot of time when the president convenes legislative leaders, judicial leaders, and the court should stay outside, yes. But when it comes to something that threatens the stability of the country, I believe that the president will get involved. He could convene the parties involved to try to resolve this thing in the interest of the. Yeah, look, there's politics in everything we talk about. I mean, there's nothing here I would say that that there will be no criticism of. There will be nobody will cite some instances against maybe a point that I'm advancing here. But if we are in the interest of trying to promote stability, the good image of the country, for have government work for the people, even if you believe Bouaka is not the best president, has not demonstrated leadership in your measurement, in your judgment, in your observation. But the question I'm hearing you ask, Dennis, to me, it rises to a seriousness level that goes beyond whether the president initially wanted Koffa to be speaker or not, because you're talking about there's a deadlock, there's stalemate to the extent that we don't have a functioning government. The president cannot implement his legislative agenda. Nothing can be done for the people. These people who were elected as our representatives cannot do the people's business. Now, you don't want the country to get to that point. And what do? You look to the president. You look to the leadership of the presidency to intervene, to invoke constitution, institutionalism, our traditional systems, to our religious institutions and leaders, to be able to bring about some kind understanding to move the lower house forward. Whether it moves forward with the current speaker, with a different speaker, but the country has to move forward, and that will happen.
Jimmy, let me same question. You know,
So
we come to a point, the back and forth, and we are at a deadlock,
okay.
and we look to President Bwaka. Well, what will he do?
This is a successful political move, if you were to ask me. Just what we said in the beginning, Buckeye didn't want Koffa in that position. So this just plays right into his hand. And I think it was cleverly done. If he's actually orchestrating it, it was cleverly done. But more than likely, it played into his hands. I think by Koffa's own admission, he knows he made some mistakes. He didn't articulate what those mistakes were, but he did recognize his a few flawed moves, and this is what has culminated now. He's lost his support of some certain people, those who backed him when Buckeye was against him. Oh, Ahmed more than anybody else knows that to ride these political waves, it requires a certain savviness. You got to know how to dance along the waves that come, and if you dance the wrong way, you will be washed up. You'll be swept by the wave. You'll be swept out. So he got to the helm, and then he made some faux pas that has caused him now to lose good standing with the majority of the people. And they won't stop. They will fight him. These guys are all about politics. It's not about Liberia here or pushing Liberia forward or getting a better economy or getting a better educational system or it's none about that. This is pure politics at play right now. And they will battle it out to defeat him. That is what is at stake now. So it played into Buckeye's hands. He didn't want him there in the first place, and now he's got the opportunity to influence who's the next person that goes there.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, we are discussing the chaos in the House of Representatives and Speaker Koffa fighting back. If you want to take part in the conversation, please call 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403#. Mr. Pearson, as we wait for our callers to come in, one thing is with all what we see, and we all agree is chaos that's in the House of Representatives, do you see a fear? With all this, I was talking to someone, he said these people, they are afraid of U.S. sanction more than they are afraid of their own constituents or the Liberian people, right? Like every time they are doing something, they are merely afraid of U.S. sanction. Well, what do you think is going to be the one to discourage this kind of behavior in the House? Is it because their constituents will be voting them out? Is it because the Liberian people don't like it and they're going to rally against that? Or is it because the U.S. is going to sanction them if they engage in bribery?
I think that's a good question, Dennis. And I want to just say to my friend and brother, Tony Freeman, man, you are a smart man. I strongly agree with you on the fact that President Bwaka lacks the leadership to do the right thing right now. And he's going to be hoping that their old strategy of pressuring people to resign will work. It's not going to work. This time around, it answers Dennis' question. Dennis, there's a movement in Liberia right now. As I speak to you, we have a group that we already have reached over 1,000 membership, and our program is across party line. Majority of young people and some other people among us. And what we are doing is to energize the people and educate them that legislators do not have to be in that place there for 6 years or 9 years. And then we will educate the people to that thing that if you go to that legislature, Dennis, and you fail to do the people work, we will galvanize in your district, we'll galvanize signatures, and we'll move to the national legislature. In addition to all the other political maneuvering, we'll go there to petition the House or the Senate to have our legislators recalled. And if it doesn't work, we'll go to the how you call it, sir? We'll move to the Elections Commission. If it doesn't work, we'll move to the Supreme Court.
Is that part of the new progressive movement?
That's what I'm telling you. And we're not taking this. We want to begin with Darius DeLong. They like that let us down in Monserrado County. And I'm telling you, Dennis, the movement is on. As I speak to you, our 1,000 signature, 1,000 membership target has been reached. We are now going to be going into the 17th district of Monserrado to effectuate the movement at the district level to get the necessary signature to remove Darius DeLong from the Senate. Unless he can bag on us and sign a social contract to do what he said he went there to do. So again, it is not just what happened in the legislature. Dennis, what we are afraid of, and I will close on this, Dennis, on your question. What is hurting us that people do the wrong thing and say because the wrong thing is always done, so it becomes right. No, Liberia has to turn a new page. And that new page is going to be now. And according to Attorney Freeman, to join this movement, you are a brilliant guy coming out, you are a legal mind, join us. Let us teach these lawmakers. Go by the Constitution and the laws of the land. If you violate the laws, you're not going to get your will. This is not tantrum. This is not leadership by tantrum. It should be leadership by the law. And I will stop there, Dennis. Thank you, Attorney Freeman. Thank you, sir.
Dennis, you
Attorney Freeman.
Yeah.
So what do you think what do we do with these lawmakers? Scare them with U.S. sanction, or what do we do? What is really going to
No,
deter
I don't
them?
think the U.S. sanction is having the effect, at least in the governance sphere. Because if you recall, the sanction came prior to the election of McGill and Bill Twelve.
Yeah.
So, but the sanction does help because it gave the people, at least the ordinary people, a measure of satisfaction in order to be able to say what they want to say to them. But the real problem in Liberia is a leadership question, because Liberia has a presidential system where the power is concentrated in the president. So for you to solve Liberia problem, you have to solve that presidential problem first, and then it simmer down. Liberia, we don't have like a decentralized system like maybe in the US where the power comes from the states and then gets to the federal. In Liberia, it's presidential, then it goes down to the county. So you got to solve the leadership question. And unfortunately, Liberia has mortgaged themselves for the next 6 years. They got a very corrupt and incompetent president. They got an extremely corrupt vice president. They got an ex-felon and extremely corrupt speaker. So they have sold themselves out for the next 6 years. In the short term, I believe what we can do, for example, is to provide the necessary advocacy, the necessary education, so that when our people have the next opportunity, they will totally forget about the Weah and the Dwaka. For example, George Weah, tell me for Christ's sake, this man and his security people stole at least $178 million from the country. And people still running around him, and they're happy. They don't seem to be a problem. He built mansions for himself. He built mansions for his wife. And why did he build for the Republic of Liberia? He built a playground. After building condominiums for himself and building a city for his wife, he built a playground for the Republic of Liberia. And people go there and they are happy. They laugh and they play on the playground and they say, Papu, the Papa is strong. The Papa built a playground for us. So we have a leadership question. We got to solve that presidential issue and it will simmer down. That's my view.
Thank you. Let me bring on our callers. The first is Benjamin Jonah, my friend from Bunuburam. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, thank you for having me. Am I on?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. So I think a lot of your panelists are probably forgetting about something. Why it is true that the removal of Edwin Snow and Tyler, those two removal were so flawed. But at the time of the Liberian public involvement into politics, I think now it's quite different. So the Union Party cannot get over this so easily. The next thing here is that who benefits from this whole thing? There are two people. If Planty can hold on to his standard person that he has, that means the government will have to come to a standstill. Who wants to achieve anything now? It is the United Party government. So do you want to have a star government? So I mean, Black will have to come to do something. But at the end of the day, if this government cannot work, let the Liberia remove both CDC and the UP out and form an interim government. I think we are getting there, and I just pray that let these two criminals keep fighting one another, and we can call for an interim government that we can have for both of these two criminal groups. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me bring on Mr. Trogon Bayou. Trogon.
Good evening, everyone. Dennis, how you all doing, man?
Great.
Good show tonight. Good conversation. In fact, that's a conversation of the country and the diaspora and the speaker issue. But I just want to say that the removal of the speaker is online in the Constitution. And I listened to Speaker Koffa today. He said, if these guys have 49 votes, I will step aside. It's not the only job that I can do. I'm one of the best lawyers in Liberia, quote unquote. So, but why not wait to get 49 votes and remove the speaker? Why want to bypass it? One of the problems we have.
How you think they're bypassing it? How you think they are bypassing it?
Well, they don't want to go into and go by the process to remove the speaker. They think they can just say, "Oh, because we have the majority, so the speaker should step down."
That's part of the process, right? They want to make him with no quorum, so he can't get anything done. Then he get frustrated and leave.
Well, if they boycott and if nothing is done, they're hurting themselves because it's a unity party that is in power. And it is a unity party that Liberian people are looking up to deliver. So if unity party lawmakers decide to boycott because they want to illegally, I would use the word illegal because they're not going through the proper process right now to remove the speaker, it will hurt them in the next election. The Liberian people will take that into account. But what I wanted to continue with is we do not respect laws and order in our country. And from your panelists, I listened to one of your panelists saying, when you read the Article 33, that gave power to the minority to compel the people to come back into session. He said, well, there's something, one of those things we took from the U.S. Constitution. We don't know why it is there. And those are the excuses we make in Liberia to bypass our laws and make our laws. That's why our laws are so weak, because we find a way to get around everything to suit our needs. So, I mean, that was not too comforting to me when I heard that. I said, no. If it is in the Constitution, we should abide by it. If we have to remove the speaker, go through the proper channel, go through the right step, and remove the speaker. So, I mean, and the issue of corruption.
Your time finished, though.
Okay, then it's there. Okay, Koffa, next time, of course, I respect that, so I will just stop here.
Okay, thank you. Flomo Livingstone. Flomo, you're live.
Yeah, Mr. John, thank you for the show. Thank you to the panelists. You know, for me, people say, oh, the government they can remove the government and bring pretext. Like, they don't even follow the rules and law in the legislature. They are rules that we have to form a quorum, which is at 7 members. So if the majority have a quorum, they can run the affair of the legislature.
No.
And the president has to be compared to work with them.
No.
According to their rules.
No, then who preside?
Yeah, they can appoint
appoint their own speaker?
Yes, they can appoint an interim pro-tem. That is speaker pro-tem to preside over it. They even go the deputy speaker today. The other black will go to the deputy speaker today, like Thursday. So they have the majority. If you have the majority, once you have the quorum, you can move on. The speaker is not powerful than the other guys, and they are all on the same level. They appointed him, that's all. That's all he has. But he doesn't have no other authority that they say to do this. You can't go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court cannot interfere in another branch of government how to run their government. They can't do that. The Supreme Court cannot do that. You can't compare the people. The speaker saying you made the Supreme Court to compare them to go to session. You force someone, you go grab them and to the session to do what? What the speaker needs to do is to call the other guys there and dialogue and come together and tell the people, look, let's work for the country, let's work for Liberia. And one thing I'm going to end on, that the PhD said, asking the attorney for evidence, but he's coming here and he didn't provide evidence. We all want to protect our own criminals, and that's what the PhD is doing today, protecting Konadu Koffa. Konadu Koffa was there when Kabila Ghana was removed. He was there. He voted for it to remove the man. But we did see no problem with that. We know. Not happening to me now, you want to see side for it.
Thank you.
That's what happened. Yes, thank you, Mr. John.
Thank you. Darling Warwood, it's your turn.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. It just took me back to history. When Julius Caesar, the coup d'etat that brought him down was the first coup calling in history. When Caesar was about to be, when the coup was plotted by those conspirators, what they did was they removed a right-hand man, Anthony. They took him away. There's somebody talking in the background, and you got to read your stuff. So the coup took place in Rome. And there's other coup that is happening in Liberia. I can also say that it took place in Rome because Koffa was lured to Rome by Joseph Boakai in order to give way for the coup to take place smoothly. So there's some correlation between the two. Huh?
I say conspiracy?
It's a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Julius Caesar was, the coup was conducted in Rome. Koffa was taken to the same room where he was, the coup took place, the coup attempt took place behind his back. So there is some relationship there. What I want to say tonight is that we need a new constitution.
And darling, they said 49 representatives will form, a majority, right? And that is and that's in Article 49. Just so you know.
Yep. You read it wrong. That is for removal.
Yeah, the removal.
Removal is different from majority.
Yeah, the removal for them to be able to remove it, they need 49.
Exactly.
That's the majority.
Yes, but not a majority is for removal.
Categorically say that the coup has failed because the coup is still in process. The coup hasn't failed; it's still in process. And I will also go on to say we need a new constitution because what we have right now, where we have a legislature that can go to work and get paid themselves any amount of money. There is no cap. Nobody is policing them. We can't continue to go on this way.
But that is on us now. We continue to give it to give them the money. Even you change the constitution, as long as they give it all part of the money, we still vote for them and put them on our shoulders.
Yeah,
but thank you.
But we need a referendum. We need a new constitution. Kenya did it in 2007. Kenya got a new constitution. We can do the same. We can have a new constitution because with the current constitution, as time goes on, we're not going to have a country. They can never shoot this country, and we'll have nothing left. And if we just sit on spoon and on FOL and just talk without putting into place some mechanism to address the situation, that where are we heading? We need a new constitution. You have somebody who is a senator who stayed power for 9 years. Not that for 18 years. That's an adult right there. President stayed power for 6 years, 12 years. Added to the age, you got nothing left. We need a new constitution. We need to change course. We can't continue to go down this rabbit hole.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you. Really. And it sometimes gets so frustrating We can continue to go like this. Hassan, your last caller.
Thank you for taking my call. Yeah, thank you for taking my call. First thing, I'm gonna take shots at Dr. Pearson. I didn't know you was a surrogate for Nancy Koffa. Listen, two things can be true, Dennis, right? So what the legislatures, they have the right to remove to pick the speaker, they have the right to remove for Nancy Koffa, which is right. And it's also right that the reason they want to move it is for corrupt reasons. So those two things can be true. Right, so we can argue and go back and forth and stuff. So both sides is right. Right? And I mean, we don't need a new constitution. We can't keep changing contracts. If we make contracts and whatever it is, we just have to implement what it is that's there. Like you just push back on the last caller and stuff like that. We don't need to do interim government. We don't have to keep taking easy routes. I keep saying this. In order for us to change Liberia, we have to make the hard decisions. Changing the constitution will be easy. Trying to do like a referendum or whatever it is and stuff like that. Those things are easier. It's been done in the past, and it still hasn't changed the situation. We have to start holding these people accountable for everything they do whenever they break the law and stuff. And it goes back again to the Liberians that learn. The people like Dr. Pearson. Just because you left on Nancy Koffa, he might be your friend. He probably went to grade school with him. It doesn't mean when he do something wrong, you should know. You should be sent in by our boss, right? But Nancy Koffa is a known criminal, so I don't think how a well-educated man like yourself should be here trying to defend him. How you call it in the legislature? So those things have to stop. I keep saying this. It's up to us that learn. We made it in the future, but we keep misinforming our people that's stuck in the past. We purposely do it. Everybody on the show or every panelist I've seen it, they done it for their friend or somebody that they like. And stuff like that. And that's the wrong thing. And we're going to continue to repeat it, give somebody a pass the other way just because they like the person.
Thank you.
That's the problem with us. All right, Dennis, thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. Those are all the callers we have tonight. At this time, we're going to be closing. I want us to close with the way forward. Look in the crystal ball. How do we resolve this impasse? And where do we go from here? Let me start with you, Dr. Pearson, as we close.
Yeah, so I should say emphatically, I do not try to cover Speaker Koffa. I want us to follow the law. And what the law has provided for is that if you want to remove Speaker Koffa, go into the official section with your majority vote and put your vote on the floor, and you need 49 votes, which is 2/3 of the 73 lawmakers, and get him off. Secondly, I think the way forward here is simple. I think the LACC and the Ministry of Justice should expedite that investigation about alleged corruption, because if even there is a process in the House, if corruption is included in that entire process, it's null and void, and it's going nowhere, because it's not going to be good for our democracy. And I will conclude by saying, Speaker Koffa, reach out to your people, but don't spend a dime. The people will support you. This is not 2017 or 20-something when Ellen just pushed people out with brown envelope. That is not going to happen. You have the people's support. We'll come up in mass and we'll show people's power to ensure that the law is followed to the letter. Thank you, Dennis.
How you sound? You sound like South Foco.
Yeah, it's passionate. It's passionate to us as Liberians because we don't want to go back in the same rabbit hole.
Right, because you are not in the legislature. So what are you going to do?
Bro, the people's power.
Get behind South Foco and start singing.
Article 1. The power is inherent in the people.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony Freeman. You are closing.
Okay. The issue at the House is a political question. So to attempt to use...
Sorry, Anthony, because when we're talking about the bribery, I wanted you to address the potential money laundering issue as well. If people have 1 million in bag, does that constitute money laundering?
Oh, yes. I mean, because money laundering is a criminal money that you're trying to legitimize. So if you use corrupt means to go and get money, obviously it's criminal. And then you're using official government offices to try to legitimize it. You're trying to launder it there. So that's how it works. And we have laws in Liberia against accessing cash in those ways. That's why they have limits. In the US, our law is capping after the US. The moment you go to the bank and you draw down more than 10,000, they're supposed to file a report. And when that report repeats, there's supposed to be an investigation. Why are you taking physical cash out of the bank all the time? So that's not what we saw. We saw Fonati Koffa and Thomas Faladen went to the bank over several years and took out $11 billion in physical cash and walked out. And today they have not accounted for that money. And what we realized is that when they want to remove Konati, he said, I was planning to audit. I don't believe it. I think it's a lie. I think Fonati is just as criminal-minded as the rest of the other group. And the other thing I want to emphasize is that these guys, they will not escape the issue of audit because it has become too visible now. So they've been trying to dodge it, just as Nyombli had tried to dodge it when she said she wants system audit. And there is no such thing as system audit under Liberian law. The government, when they give you the money, they are interested in how you spend it and whether you spend it in keeping with Liberian law. The government already has system. So they will not come and order you for system because they already have system. So that's the thing. So we have a political question at the House. I think Fonati Koffa will do himself a great favor when your people you are leading are in the majority and they say they no longer want you in any civilized country, you tender in your resignation. Don't waste your time trying to say you go to the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court only dispense legal solution. And the issue about leadership is a political question. So the Supreme Court will not help you to give you legal solution when the problem is political. That's my final take.
Thank you. Mr. Nawe.
Thank you, Dennis, and thank you. Great show, guys. Thank you also to the audience. Look, I think what's happening right now in Liberia is a sad situation. I honestly don't see how the country benefits from what is happening right now. The speaker, I think he is at a disadvantageous position, and I'm not sure right now. You know, the way he's addressing this matter is gonna help him. I'm not sure of that. I watched him today on another outlet. I think he's very passionate about the position. I think he wants to serve, but I am not sure if he has a strategy that will help him to, the position. I was hoping for an attempt at building bridges at reaching out to those who had already assembled against him, if not all of them, but finding a pathway to put himself on the side of to garner the majority vote, as several speakers have indicated here. I myself, I was surprised that he went to the House today without making sure he had the number. I think it made him look weak. So I don't know. Like I said, these are going to be interesting next few days in Liberia. I hope this thing doesn't drag on too long. But I didn't see him as someone who was prepared to compromise. Not that compromise is bad or it makes you weak, but there are instances when you have to find a sweet spot. You got to find a middle ground to resolve a stalemate. I think right now we have a stalemate, and I don't see his strategy to unjam the current stalemate at the legislature. How the government is going to move forward yet, I don't know. I hope the president, will also, I guess, help in finding a way out of it. But all in all, like I said, I don't see how this helps the country. Sad.
Jimmy, you're closing.
Okay, excellent. I heard many of my fellow panelists say we should follow the law. But since 1986, when that Constitution was adopted, it was flawed. It put the members of the PRC above the law? Can you have a constitution that people are above the law? It had a lot of loopholes in it. And we're seeing how these loopholes are affecting us as a country now. No, I believe we should follow law by the letter. But we need to improve that document we call our Constitution. The Constitution provides a foundation for government. And if you have a flawed Constitution, you will have a flawed foundation. It's supposed to protect individual rights. It's supposed to ensure stability and order. And another thing, it's supposed to limit government power. It's supposed to be adaptable. Since we've done that, we have not yet made the proper adjustments to that Constitution. The Constitution is a living document. We know that things are wrong. We had the citizen clause, which was wrong. We had the other day, we had the issue with people bypassing announcing their wealth.
That's a declaration.
That's a declaration, correct. We need a good constitution, and we need, but more than that, we need people like a very able attorney here who are constitutional lawyers, because it's not nothing easy to write a constitution. We can't just think that it's just an easy document. It has a lasting effect on us. So and we're not trying to improve. Everybody, we're supposed to be people to try to improve. I see them still using 19 stuff. If it tells me that they're not capable of doing any improvement. They're not capable of being foresighted enough to steer the country to higher levels. So we got a lot of problems in our hands, but this brings to light this body we call the legislature, the House especially. And if the Liberian people do not take this as a warning sign that we're not being led correctly, then anything that happens to us, we shouldn't blame history or blame God.
Thank you. Thank you. God is good all the time. We can't blame him.
Everyone always say we are cursed. He's not around to make an input.
Because you got the last word.
Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you to the viewers and followers and the callers. I always like to say, it's good to engage in dialogue and contribute to the public square of our country. I think all of us were here for Liberia. I will end with these 2 points. One about institutions, institutionalism, and the other about the people. One word or expression that's been lacking in all of this is the people. Even the lawmakers who are fighting and back and forth, majority black, Koffa's black. I don't hear people referencing how this is affecting Liberians, how this will benefit Liberians, whatever they're doing, the country as a whole. And that's, to me, that just is a telltale sign that if somebody's in there for self-aggrandizing reasons for themselves, versus if they're truly a public servant, they're there for their people, for their constituents, they're there to represent their people, they will frequently reference them. How will interest them? What do the people want? The people of Bonkane, the people of Bapulu, the people of this district, that district. You don't hear that in the lexicon of these individuals who are fighting over power. So we have to change that mindset. The other thing, if you read Why Nations Fail, Acemoglu and Robinson, I believe these two authors, they talk about, it's not a bit about geography because somebody is in Mexico, America, or Liberia. It's really about how you position your institutions. And by institutions, they're not just talking about buildings. They're talking about how we think about processes, how we organize systems and build the systems in such a way that is inclusive. The people's voices are respected. Well, now nobody's above the law. You open it up so that it's not about opposition and this group and that group. Is really at the end of the day what is best for your country, for your people. And those are the changes that I will look to, because when there are failures, then there are those institutions that are not inclusive, as these two authors talk about. And there's not some theory here. This is very practical, right? If you have a legislature that is positioned in such a way that individuals who go there only go there 99% of them solely for their own personal aggrandizing reasons, then that is not an inclusive institution. That's what we have. So it's a matter of governance and justice. We really have to look to how do we position our institutions and condition ourselves and our people to hold people accountable, to make things work for the people, for the country, in order to move forward. And part of that is the conversation that we're having here tonight. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, gentlemen, for the time. I want to thank our viewers for watching, those who are watching now, and even those who will watch later. Thanks to those who call in, those who put their comments. Please, if you are writing comments, we use that to run the show. So you are contributing. I'm taking some of the comments you write and I'm turning them into questions. So thank you so much for contributing. As the saga at the House of Representatives continues, let us remember we are all Liberians, and let's strive to do our very best to make our country the glorious land of liberty. Have a good night, and God bless you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Be right.